Ain't we American? Damn straight, we'd have said in the old neighborhood. Or fucking A, we took the poor and huddled, didn't we? Masses yearning to be free. And we cut and shot and burned and killed our way from sea to shining. But hey, it wasn't all good. We died too, by the thousands, falling under the anonymous grass that waved the flag of freedom in the new world that was new to us anyway, pregnant with the greatest idea on earth, with blood and cursing and joy and tears, and if you didn't believe in that, baby, don't tread on me. What the branch of the service were you in, by the way? Hell do you believe in, chump? Why do they hate us? Mistakes were made. Pass that joint and I'll tell you this nation should be committed. One small step for man, mother may I chase the rainbow's end, and that pot of gold is glowing in the misty air brighter than the gold rush, than 1,000 dandelion blossoms crushed into a ball in the afternoon sun. Well, you'd better get started, boyo, before it disappears. Go with Patchen's flute playing Pink Rhinoceros, the bloody pair of you stumbling across the fields toward that end coming down in the gentle abrasive parking lot, or the coal piles of National Carbon. Though you'll find no pot of gold there, a pot of beans if you're lucky, or an empty pot and a window to throw it out of. All the things I never heard was that goodbye, that sound of that eternal river flowing broad and narrow, straight up, straight down river. I cry a river over the song I can't get out of my mind. The thunder last night that split the lanes of the sky, God's bowling, dust bowl rolling, in the golden bowl breaking, grass gone under moldboard plow, Super Bowl artificial turf, and what would I do with all that gold anyway? I am not a crook. You may think I know something, that sometimes things need to be destroyed to save them, such as villages, but I don't know nothing. Looking around for worlds and dreams that never were, and if that's what you think, kiddo, you've got another thing coming, honey. I forgot the duck. All I am saying, can't we all just get along? Shock and awe is give peace a chance. He died doing what he loved, breathing. He ain't lock and load, brother. Can you spare a dime? Heavy. He's my McKinley. Guys gut shot in Buffalo, New York. Buffalo herds fading into their long goodbye. Horse walks into a bar, says, I'll have a beer. Ask not what your country can do for you. Sure, pal, the bartender says, but why the long face? Fuck that cowboy, Lenny Bruce says, and the horse he rode in on. And Richard Pryor lights a match, makes little up and down motions with it to mimic a man on fire running, which brings down, as they say, the house. Is there a doctor in the house? It will be a fire next time, a giant step for mankind. Years until Niagara stops falling over the land of the free and the home of the brave. And when did farming become living in the country, become country living, and then in country? We will bomb you back into the Stone Age, which in your case shouldn't take more than 1 or 2 bombs. And if that doesn't do it, carpet bombing, how you like that? The rocket's red glare, we will rock you. The bombs bursting in air, it will be the war to end all wars. Though we had one of those before, and it was, as the man said, hell, as was that ancestral battle at Blenheim. You know it well. 10,000 dead and wounded. The dead left to rot in the fields, skulls heaving up out of the ground on the plowshare years later, a young boy rolling one for a plaything, asking his grandfather about the battle and what good came of it. And the answer, why then I cannot tell, said he, but 'twas a glorious victory. Garden growing in the dark just beyond the edge of the yard, where men from the neighborhood drink beer around the fire, contained by boulders rolled into a horseshoe. They are English and French and Polish and German descent, Americans one and all, and one by one drift home on paths across the field, the last one calling back over his shoulder by way of saying good night. See you in church. At the twilight's last gleaming, we are all grass, you may not, as my father used to repeat, like daisies, but they'll grow on you. That grassy knoll in your memory, or that phrase in a history book you half read, everything is history, everything. Even these words, remember that you can't go home again. So let us all write that down in our writer's notebooks. No maps, no roads back, body count. Andy shot through and through, dead, resurrected in hospital, screen test, Hollywood dreaming of Bobby, shot, sprawled among the bloody pots and pans, amber waves of grain, a blue moon rising and a cold rain falling, the woman singing she'd trade all her tomorrows for just one yesterday. Objects in the mirror may seem at first glance to float like a butterfly all across the countryside, farther away than they actually are. Sting like a bee, country boy, one if by land, two if by sea. Make hay while the sun shines, some days sitting on the front porch, drinking wine, bodie-odie, watching the girls go by. Nothing as beautiful as a good straight-arm sod-buster. Broken field running to the horizon, or eternity broken, fix me. Old horse-drawn sickle bar mower, iron seat cupping dead leaves, rusty knives, and rock guards up like prehistoric teeth among second-growth back acres. The prairie carved, Deptford pinks blooming, tiny fluorescent petals among the grasses, Jack Ruby flashes, rain and snow, golden sunshine falling, Lincoln brooding at his memorial, log cabin, Lincoln logs. I had a dream he might not get there with us. I took King to his balcony overlooking garbage. King Cotton, a mourning dove, bursts into startled flight, wings whistling, a single breast feather floating down, and I catch it before it touches ground, and I'm awake in the dark wondering what a gift like that is worth. Wild canaries, males giving up their winter gold, somebody singing life don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. Old locomotive smoke smudged over evening sky, long whistle echo, lonesome train, lonesome track. Are we ready to ride the night train? Round 'em up, move 'em out rawhide. Get along, little doggy, straw foot, hay foot. Troops marching, stamping out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. Do your ball saying low at ground zero. Do they wobble to and fro? I don't know, but I've been told. Can you tie 'em in a knot? Can you tie 'em in a bow? At home on the range, I'll be home by Christmas, where the deer and the antelope play. Can you sling 'em over your shoulder like a continental soldier? An Irish tenor singing My Buddy at a funeral. There wasn't, as they used to say, a dry eye in the place. Back when it was common in America for the deceased to be laid out at home in the parlor, say, and there'd be a ghost coffin there forever, no matter how the furniture was rearranged, be it ever so humble as a prefab log cabin in your future, cathedral ceiling, natural world and spiritual reunited, peaches and herb, home sweet home, no place like home. A man's home is, as you know, his castle, all them little yards with vinyl board fences, Tom Sawyer whitewashed, white picket fences, cyclone fences, big lawns, huge, and you cutting the grass, cutting the grass, cutting the grass. Gated communities, nothing runs like a deer, grace in midair, leap poised, tall towers flame and smoke burst, bitter incense to the sky. Inhaled, office papers blowing in the wind, from on high, large confetti flung, waiting to be caught by outstretched hands before they hit the ground. The answers blowing there too, my friend, if you only knew the questions. Bodies falling in terrible truth, no one to save them. Do you think this has not been experienced by hundreds, thousands, millions all over the world for centuries, without end, though closer to the ground and not filmed? I am putting on my tinfoil hat to block all those messages from outer space. I can scarcely tolerate the ones I'm getting from Earth. So who do you love? What you love? And what keeps loneliness away? Lonely in America? Get serious. Buy something. Get a job. Maybe in the reverse order. And if that doesn't work, let me tell you what works for me. Imagine Christ on a bicycle. That usually does the trick for Christians and non-Christians alike, believers and non-believers for different reasons, of course. If that turns out to be an unsuccessful remedy, there is something else that never fails. I will tell you a story, but it's complicated. And some of it happened a long time ago, almost a once upon a time story, and some of it not so long ago at all, although it may seem so. You will love the story, but I cannot tell it now. There was a bad fire here this morning, and I was burned to a crisp. You may think I'm making perfect sense under the circumstances, or at least some sense, but still, I'll tell you the story later.